The thing that strikes me the most, I don't know if this is a misconception, but further.
Where are you from, Justin?
I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio?
Yeah, I go to school at UW, Florida, University of West Florida.
Yeah.
I believe that the situation the Cubans was a little worse than what we see here.
Yeah.
And that's probably the misconception that everybody gets from what we hear over the news, because a lot of it's distorted, and what we hear is not what we see here.
Have you been given the opportunity to really talk to regular people, or do you feel like you've been sheltered, or?
No, I've had a chance because a lot of people think I'm Cuban, so that's gotten around. And
nice.
Yeah, I get stopped a lot because
You're undercover.
Undercover. I wish I could do that. I wish I could. I had to speak Spanish though, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are a few problems that are here that are in the U.S. that can be related, because I've been stopped because it's said that I look Cuban and I'm black here, and in the last couple of days I've been stopped 5 times already.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Been stopped by the Cuban police?
Yeah, Cuban police 5 times. Yeah, so.
Oh, because you've been in tourist areas and they think you shouldn't be, or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting, that they think I'm hustling, I'm a tourist, because I'm walking next to a whole bunch of people that don't look like me, so.
The thing that strikes me the most, I don't know if this is misconception, but further conviction, is how negative the U.S. policy is toward Cuba. It's going to be very difficult for Cuba to succeed and to develop as long as we have such aggressive negative policies. I just think it's, and you see the poverty and the limited opportunities, and realizing that a lot of that is the consequence of our policies really makes me angry.
Of course, with the end of the Soviet Union, the early 90s, with a period of tremendous crisis in Cuba, where I think the GDP, gross domestic product, fell sort of like the Depression in the U.S., and many people predicted that Cuba could never recover. And I think the statistics at least show that since 1994, things have improved, although not quite back to where they were in 1990. And I think the Cubans are facing a lot of hard choices: how to survive in this global economy without a socialist community to trade with, and under a very, very oppressive U.S. embargo and threats of war.
Now, have you had an opportunity to talk to any Cubans that weren't necessarily associated with the government or with your visit here?
Yes.
Yeah. And what is your impression of that?
Well, my impression that there is a very broad-based popular support for socialism, for the government. I think there's especially strong, almost affection for Fidel as the grandfather, and savior of Cuba.
I get the impression that the people really are behind socialism, not just Fidel, but socialism, and that there will be a successor and that things will continue. That's what I feel.
Do you think the Cuban people really feel that they have choices? I mean, that seems to be the bone of contention in our country. It's like Fidel is a dictator, so where is the choice for the people? But Lynn just said she thinks that the people pretty much feel that socialism works for them. And that's pretty much the government he preaches.
Well, we didn't talk to people on the street, but we talked to officialdom. And I'm not sure what people on the street would say, but I can see just by looking that people are fed and they're clothed and they have schools for their children, which seem to be better than the schools that we have in the United States, particularly in Oakland, California. And so even though they're not, as she said, materially wealthy, I think they got a pretty good shake.
What do you think the biggest misconception about Cuba is in the way Americans see Cuba? From the information that we're provided with at home.
I think that everyone wants to leave, that all Cubans want to leave and go to the United States. That's the impression the media give, that nobody's happy here.
And furthermore, that Castro is a vicious sort of dictator, and there aren't any civil rights, stuff like that.
And what did you find instead?
Well,
Just the opposite.
Just pretty much the opposite from all that we've seen. We have been sort of shepherded, but I felt that I could have gone out on my own anytime to talk to people without any company. I'm sure there are people that are unhappy here, but possibly they'd be unhappy anywhere. Nothing can please everyone.
I'd like to say that the thing that I'm taking back is this incredible thing that I've discovered here, and that is that the Cubans seem to be pretty sure that we're going to attack them. And I had no idea that might be true about Cuba. And the people that we have talked to all seem to say the same thing. And that's the chief thing that I'm going to remember, and when I get back I'm going to tell other Americans about it.
Well, the overall impression is that I wouldn't have the faintest idea where this is going because of the threat of the United States, bombing coming in. Short of that, it seems very hopeful. And I kept thinking, I don't know how this can work, but that it might move into a socialism that's more like Norway, Sweden, where you have some of the great benefits, but perhaps more freedom.
I think that there's a big difference between human rights and personal rights. And I think the United States is a great example of a country that believes in personal rights. And don't step on my rights. And I think in a society like this, what the primary concern is what is good for the people.
I just definitely recommend that if you're interested in getting truth, that you try and find it yourself.
Okay, on my own behalf, on behalf of the driver Luis, on behalf of Amis Tour Travel Agency, on behalf of ECAP, and on behalf of all the Cubans, I would like to tell you something. For us, it's a real pleasure to work with you as a group of Americans coming to Cuba. It was a privilege. You are very easygoing people, smiling people. I was really comfortable working with you, and I would like to encourage you to come again to Cuba. We will be here with our open arms waiting for you, trying to make you enjoy our luxurious vegetation, our nice beaches, our nice climate, our warm heart. And then we would like you please to take the message to the American people. We are a danger for nobody. We are very peaceful people. We don't want war. We just want to share and drink rum and enjoy life and all this. Well, that's all. Thank you.
My name is Susie Goss, and I am 12 years old.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Y le voy a cantar la canción de John Lennon, que es un canto a la paz.
She's going to sing a John Lennon song. It's a song for peace.
Imagine there's no heaven, seas if Jews right, no head below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Yeah. Imagine there's no countries, erasing hard to do, nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. wonder if you guys, no need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only